nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good afternoon, good evening. Sun's still out here in San Antonio, so not used to that since the last time we've been on. Just like SAFC, our injury report's grown a little bit. Royce is out with upper body injury, is what was relayed to us. No further announcements, however. No TBD on when he will return. For that here, and just like SAFC, we did not bring in any replacements, so we're running a real thin bench. Rafa, how are you? Thanks for coming in.
We're not buying out his contract, right? That was pretty good. Just trying to stay cool with this heat. Another 100-degree weather day, so
hopefully the power stays on. That's the only thing you can ask for right now. So for that here, so a little bit about what we're going to cover here tonight. We're going to talk about initial thoughts on this past week. If we want to touch base on Phoenix, we can. That was a little bit over 2 weeks ago for here. I don't know if we really need to say a lot on it, but main thoughts are going to be the Open Cup talk, Miami versus San Antonio this past Saturday. And then seems like 10 games is where we kind of do the progress report, where you kind of hit the panic button, where you say, hey, things are going great. So we'll kind of do a check-in, maybe kind of do grades a little bit on, not individual players, but just, like goalkeeping, midfield, defense, along those lines here. For that here, there was some news from SAFC Academy that we'll kind of delve in and do a quick discussion on. And then final thoughts. So it should be a fairly quick show, depending on how in-depth conversations go. Hopefully we'll keep it under 90 for that here, Rafa. We'll give it a shot. So, first topic, Rafa. Initial thoughts on this past week for San Antonio FC. A tough away loss in Houston. So San Antonio FC's Open Cup is over. They lost 1-0 on a goal. What was that?
it was a header.
Header in the 82nd minute by Ferreira, right before he was going out. And there was a
Handball in the box. It should have been a red.
Called, but just like Phoenix, we had plenty of opportunities before that. If we convert them, it doesn't go under the ref. So as much as, hey, we may not have got the call, to me, that's not why San Antonio lost that match. But,
No.
For my thing, after that, they continued the road trip, went to went to the Miami FC in front of around 1,100 and the Fighting Taters family there, and a 2-0 victory that was fairly comfortable, I thought, as far as my initial thought here. I went to the watch party down, at Alamo Beer with the Crocketeers. It didn't, to me, I can only remember one chance of the Miami FC really challenging San Antonio, and San Antonio had the more shots, had the better chances. So overall, I know we don't want to see losses, but my initial thoughts is I don't think San Antonio FC had the depth to win the Open Cup. It would have been nice to see it. Don't get me wrong, because then you would have got the invite to play CONCACAF Champions League. So to me, them beating Austin FC made the Open Cup this year for us, because that going the first one against them. Would I have loved to beat Houston, and I think that game's played here. I think we do, but it was played in Houston in front of a couple hundred people.
The same amount they have at RGV. Like Daddy Dynamo.
To me, and I made this comment here, if you're gonna have low attendance, put everybody in the lower bowl, so that way it looks like people are there, not having them spread out all over the stadium. Put them on one side. As much as we complained about SAFC going against Defeater having fans just on one side, it was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. It consolidated fans when they're all scattered around. To me, it doesn't create an environment. Maybe I'm wrong on that. You might have different feelings, but your thoughts on the initial week, or your thoughts on SAFC's week?
Well, the US Open Cup, I think we should have won that game. I think we just need to finish a lot better. That's been the problem. I mean, even going back to the Phoenix game, it's about finishing. If we don't finish, we're not going to win games. And we have plenty of, and I think we're playing great. We've been, not to say full control of games, but we've been very competitive. We've been in games and stuff, but when you can't finish, you're putting yourself at risk of losing games. Like, basically that was a cheap goal that we gave up to Houston. I mean, it's a nice goal, but it was a cheap goal.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a defensive mistake. Had we I think we could have put 2 or 3 away in the first half.
I think if you get one, you put the game away.
Yeah, and we would have probably be playing Kansas City, sometime in a couple of weeks. But and that'd have been nice to get at least crack the Sweet 16. But I think they kind of learned something from that a little bit. Even the beginning of the Miami game, we're missing opportunities. I think because they're a new team, they were kind of filling it out, but also playing on turf. I don't think they're accustomed to that. So I knew it was kind of affecting some of their shots and some of their passing, but then finally they kind of got it together. And, that run that Beckford made and from the little cheeky pass, and boom, it was able to bury it, even though it took a little extra bounce from the turf, but, it went in. And I think right then and there, that's when we started really taking over the game. I think Miami FC kind of gave up after that goal. They just couldn't really muster anything, and then finally we got that second goal to kind of to put it away. There. So that was a big win because, just after a couple of disappointments, to go to finish off that little road trip, going into the big game coming on Saturday, it's a good momentum for us, and hopefully we'll be a lot healthier because we only had 5 people on the bench Saturday.
Yes, one of them, and
four field players.
Yeah,
so we're rolling the dice there. So, and I think some of those guys were held out of precaution, and I think the game on Saturday is going to be the one that's going to be more. It's going to be the more important one. But we sold 3 points away, and we're still on. We haven't lost to an Eastern Conference team yet, and hopefully here's our chance to take over first place.
So looking at the Houston match here, San Antonio lined up this way. Jordan Farr, Fabian Garcia, Jasser, Mitchell Tainer, Jordan, PC, Abu, Hernandez, who unfortunately got hurt and left, Maloney, Collier, and Dillon. And from my understanding, Houston's lineup was kind of very similar to Austin. Wasn't full starters, but was, especially up top, Ferreira, Fafa Pico, Brooklyn Reigns, a youngster, Rodriguez, Darwin Sarin, Memo, Junga, Bartlow, Valentine Dorsey, and Michael Nelson in goal, for that here. So, I thought that The lineup was predictable for it here. Not, I was kind of torn if I wanted to see a little bit more rotation, but as we mentioned, I really don't have a lot to be able to rotate. For that here, I know David Lorera came on for Hernandez in the 61st minute when he went out with an injury, and both of those missed the Miami match for that here. But to me, you're right, and unfortunately, there's no video that we have on the Ferreira goal. It was off I want to say it was off corner right, if memory serves me right.
There was just a miscommunication. I think somebody left them open.
And I think when we're looking at it in discussion, I think Royce mentioned that was either Justin or when did Collier get subbed out here? No, Collier was still in. One of the forwards was on him, and unfortunately, he got by. But it was one of those things where Houston converted their chance, and San Antonio didn't. Looking at the stats here, 61 possession for Houston, 39 for San Antonio. To me, both teams shot poor. Houston had 15 shots, only 3 on target. San Antonio 12 shots, 3 on target as well, 8 shots off target, and Houston did have 5 blocks. 8-3 in corner kicks for Houston. Big chances, 2-1, and of course, we missed our big chance, so they missed a big chance as well. And to me, it was just the normal thing, from as far as when you look at the stats, it's not that San Antonio played poorly or anything. Just it was one play of the game that Houston converted, and San Antonio didn't. It unfortunately in soccer, and sometimes it comes down to that. It's not that simple.
Yeah. What surprised me is that that one play in the box that was a handball. I'm surprised that there was no VAR.
Well, there's no VAR in Open Cup, even at MLS stadiums. At least, could they bring it in once it's all MLS? I think
that's what they need to do, because that could have changed the game. Because who knows, in an extra period, we sneak. I think we were kind of getting into them a little. I think that those last after the goal score, we kind of turned it up a little bit, and we had them on the ropes. And I think had we gotten the goal there, I think we would have won it in extra time, just like the Austin game. I think they just picked up momentum, there, and I think they were going to sneak one in, but they just got unlucky on that one.
And I put that on the AR because the ref, no offense to the ref, to be able to see that, there are a lot of bodies in the front, and to be kind of fair, even on replay, you couldn't tell if it maybe hit his body first and then bounced off. There was a deflection 100%, but it's not like he had his arm way out here. It was there. But to me, it's one of those where the AR has to see that and has to be able to communicate that to the referee, because I think for most people outside of Houston, it was a pretty clear handball right on the line on a goal-scoring play for that here. I'm not Danielle, so I don't know if that matters, if it's right on the goal line compared to if it's out, 4 or 5 feet, if that makes a difference on where the arm placement is. You'd probably be a better judge on that, but
that would have been a PK and a red, because it's a clear goal scoring. So let's say we convert that, I think with the momentum we had and them down a man, we probably would have ended up winning that game. But it's just that just you can mention that just happens, and without that,
you can't blame that loss on that call, because San Antonio had opportunities to win the game. They just They unfortunately did not, and it's as simple as that. I know it's not the popular answer, but it's the truth. Like I said here, and it's just like the Phoenix match. Even though we got blown out, was it 3-0?
Mm-hmm.
San Antonio had chances to be in that game, to win that game, to make that game different, and they didn't. And you're gonna have those runs in the season where things don't go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some fans may not like this, but I'm glad that the second game was a Open Cup game and not let's say a league game like Miami or this week's opponent like Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Maybe they get that itch out of the way and they're able to convert going forward.
Yeah, that like I said, that Phoenix game, we should have won that game. We outplayed them. We had better chances, and it's funny how the chances that we couldn't convert, but we had another team come in, which was Tampa, and they basically blew them out of the water.
They had the same blueprint. It seemed like
yes, it was the same blueprint. But the thing is, the difference is that they finished. Had we done that, we probably would have ended up routing them, kind of in a similar way.
Now, I don't know if we'd have got 2 own goals, but it is what it is. So moving to Miami. So we're going to Miami here. Lined up, Jordan Farr, Garcia, Camary, Tanner, Gomez, PC, Abu, Maloney, Beckford, Collier, and Dylan. They have it lined up as a 3-4-3. Is that kind of how you see it, or you think it's still more the
3-5-2? I think it was still the 3-5-2. They just had Beckford more as far as the attacking mid, down in the middle, in between Collier and Dylan.
And Miami FC had Aiden Stanley, Luke Antodelli, Benjamin Olfino, Mark Sherbergs, Speedy Williams, who I don't even remember playing the game, and that says a lot. Florian Vallet, Joshua Perez, Romeo Parks, Lamar Walker, and former San Antonio FC for a cup of coffee, Kyle Murphy. Also held him pretty tight as well, and in between the pipes, Connor Sparrow, another excellent goalkeeper, in the league for that here. And when you look at the control over here, to me, like I said, it still shows a lot of blue. There's a spot here in the first half where Miami had some possession and some chances, and then right at the end. But to me, like I said here, I thought it was a fairly convincing win for San Antonio. And then let's get into the highlights here.
False start. Now we're ready to roll. Here we are from South Beach, ready to rock and roll between these two clubs. Ricky, very interesting matchup. Walker has some space here. Who does he pick out? Sends it back across, and it's cleared out. Below. Wide, perhaps looking for a redirect from Murphy. 17th minute, we're scoreless so far. 3 shots to 2 in favor of San Antonio. Collier plays it back. Abu takes aim.
Nice save by Sparrow.
Sparrow with strong hands. And the flag goes up. Below.
So one of the things that I've noticed with San Antonio, they have not scored from the outside. So I was kind of happy that Abu did put it on frame and target, because I think most of our goals, if not all of our goals, have came from inside the box. So
yeah. And then you notice that Miami kind of attacked a lot of the flanks early, looking for crosses.
Good move here. Beckford is in. Beckford! It takes a ricochet. It's in. And to Shane
Beckford's first goal, and you can see the Tainter family over here.
They lead it 1-0.
Right there.
It was a touch there from Stanley, but look how good this is, the understanding of Dylan, just to put it in the path of Beckford's place. It does take a little deflection from Luke Antonelli.
Yeah, you got to thank the turf for that one. But that
it's
was
all about the pressure, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the second or third goal that Dylan's done. I think the other one he did was an RGV. where he got the turnover that Maloney was
Just the
able to
understanding
convert.
of the movement between the front three of San Antonio has been so good tonight. Dylan sets up.
And I think we need to see more of that pressure up top, because I think we can really do some damage. But the one thing is, can we convert those and finish those? And luckily we finished on that one.
So if you'll notice, I went from there to 92nd minute for that here. So the second half, I don't want to say it was a snoozer, but there wasn't a lot going on.
There's a lot of back and forth.
This was not an open game where teams had quality. Just they didn't have the quality shots, I guess you could say, because they had some opportunities, but it wasn't there. And then we'll let you I'll let you do the explanation on this play here.
The first goal from Deshane Beckford at the 42nd minute for this club. Good move here to get around a player by Trey Aday, and a penalty given.
Now, one thing I'm a little concerned about before this play, see how where he has the ball in the corner?
Uh-huh.
You know, we're at the 92nd minute. There's really no reason to attack. It's just really kind of hold the ball there in the corner, keep possession. If he comes up to you, hit it off him, keep the corner. But I know, I said you got to applaud his aggressive play. Maybe he saw that spot, hey, maybe I can convert something. But, going to this play, that right there is what's going to get called anytime. Whether it looks cheap or he doesn't take a good fall, that's a hold. You can't do that. The ref's going to count that pretty much 95% of the time.
And his arm going back to sell it as well, and then he goes down.
And he was able to sell it, but
he sold it. I know by letter of the law it's a PK, but it was soft.
Yeah. But I think because he didn't make any intentions for the ball and he knew he got beat, and raising your hand and doing that play, you're gonna get called for that.
It goes this where he hooks him, right?
So
that's
the
gonna get called no matter. Even if you think if let's see here, that was Diouf, right?
Yeah.
You think if Diouf stays up, he gets the call? Or you think it's because he went down?
I think the ref would have let the play go on a little bit, and then he would have made the call. But yeah, that right there, just having sticking your hand out and doing that, if I'm the defender from Miami, I would have just kind of cut in front of him, and tried to just kind of shield him away from the goal. But he got beat. Maybe challenging him, he could have probably made him do a bad shot. So that I was just poor defending there by Miami. But the ref's gonna count that pretty much 95% of the time, so he's gonna mark that as a PK.
Robert with the double Olay, and that kid grabbed him. So I'm going to ask you this question here. We know who took the PK. Before the PK took in, did you have Mitchell Tainer taking the PK at all?
No. Maybe that was his graduation present.
Well, he had family there. He had 20. Yeah, I believe he mentioned that. There were over around 20 members of his family there. For that here. You think that's why he got the number one time of the game? Number two, to reward him for all the hard work, and obviously college graduate from, I believe it's Rutgers. I think I saw on here. Family there. I thought it was interesting, the choice, because you and I have seen PKs and the argument on who gets to take it.
Yeah,
we'll say. A lot of times it's the captain or a forward. I want to say this is probably the first time that I can remember that a defender has took the PK.
Unless he's a really good PK taker.
Hey, he converted it. Here we go.
To strike this. Sainter pockets 3 points as he puts away the penalty. San Antonio.
You could have done the Palenka there if you wanted to.
What was it? Sheffield United. I think they played Nottingham Forest today. They could have used him.
Yeah.
Although the goalkeeper from Nottingham Forest, had 3 saves during the PKs for that year. So.
But that was a good placement of the shot.
Just put his laser through it.
The only thing is he kind of leaned back a little bit.
For the center back.
That could have carried that ball, but that play he does need to lean forward a little bit to kind of bury that. To bury that shot better instead of getting over the bar.
Clinical effort from.
So, looking at the stats. Oh, hold on. I deleted. Back to that. So, looking at the stats here.
But great footage by USL, as always.
Yeah. USL, YouTube, along those lines here. Where did it go? Stats. So another 63-37 possession. Held Miami to 7 shots, 2 on target. We had 17 shots, 6 on target, block shots. We did have 5 yellow cards. I think that was a talking point during the game was, hey, were we going to end with 11? We did have 2 big chances. Shots inside the box, 10. Shots outside the box, 7. Farley had 2 saves, for that here where they had 4. Just defensively, 12 tackles to 10 for them, 19 or 7 to 17. And clearances, and I know it's how we play. We had 23 clearances, but to me, the 37% in possession and still 10 more shots, 6 on target, just goes to show how San Antonio FC plays. And they'll let you have the ball. You can do what you want with it, but they're going to force a turnover, or they're going to convert on one of their chances. For that here, which they did. So fair play to them. Coming up, San Antonio plays Colorado Springs, possibly. And the reason why we say possibly is because Colorado Springs had their last match against San Diego canceled due to COVID. Depends on when their 10 days and the COVID protocols for USL. I would bet that we're probably here if the game is going to be rescheduled, probably before Friday, obviously before Colorado Springs travels down. If you're going by the 10-day rule,
that'll be until next week.
Yeah. When did they cancel that?
It was a Friday night, right?
No, I think it came out earlier.
Now going back to the Miami game, one thing I did see that we really did well, we won a lot of the 50-50 balls. And from those 50-50 balls, we kind of saw a lot of their counter attacks. And that's what Miami couldn't really do. They just couldn't generate any offense. And that's kudos to the to the play, Marcina on that. Winning those 50-50 balls just kept them from, getting Miami going for anything.
So, yeah, you're right. They announced it on the 12th. So 10 days would be the 22nd, which would be Sunday, if they didn't enter protocols before that. If they entered protocols on the 11th, 10th day where they could be cleared would be Saturday. So, I'm not going to make a decision on whether it is or isn't going to be played, but there is a small amount of risk depending on, number one, how many was affected, who was, and the new, protocols for COVID for USL. I don't know if they've came out with that, but I would assume, like I said here, probably Thursday we'll have notification on if the game's going to be played. I did get an email from my season ticket rep saying this is a Viva night, so at least at this point, San Antonio FC believes that the game is going to be played. So I would plan on that. However, keep that in mind that the Switchbacks unfortunately are dealing with some COVID situations in the year 2022. So there is a slight possibility that this game could possibly get rescheduled here for that here. So
You think they could move it on maybe to Monday night? You think that do you see that, or and if it does happen, do you think they move that RGV game a day back to Sunday?
I hope not, to be honest with you.
Even though it's Memorial Day weekend. It won't be too
But we
bad.
know Sunday matches don't sell out. And for RGV and the fans, because not everybody has Monday off, even though it would be a Memorial Day for that here.
Because they did play us on the Sunday the last time that we played them.
Correct. And part of that is because they had they played a Wednesday away out in California. Would have traveled back on Thursday, and then gave them a little bit of time to for practice for that here. So I don't. To me, if it's postponed, it'll be postponed to later in the year, which for San Antonio FC would.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be a benefit. Maybe by that, if they do move that game to another day, it will be at full strength.
You're going to get a little bit more because they do play. So here's the problem for San Antonio FC is they go back on the road for 3 games again. They have RGV, which yes, it is a road game, but it's not like going to California like they will be doing. June 4th against Sac Republic, and then June 12th against Monterey Bay. And then they come home and face, Oakland Roots before they head back out to face the Switchbacks in Colorado Springs. So if the game is canceled, that would mean 6 straight matches on the road for SAFC. So, which would mean that the last time that fans got to see San Antonio FC would have been April 30th for that here, and then the next opportunity they would get to see them would be June 19th. 18th.
Well, remember we had that the friendly on the 14th.
Yeah, but the friendly,
that's
the friendly on the 14th.
Academy.
I don't know if I'm going to be going to that. Haven't decided as of yet. Kind of, that's right at the start of summer. I think AJ may be going to a soccer camp at the high school here, so I'll have to play that one by ear. But since we're talking about that, your thoughts on the friendly and the team that's coming in? Was it San Luis?
Yeah, San Luis, which they got eliminated from the playoffs. It's good. It's gonna be a good one. It'll be a good game. I mean, a good game for. I don't think we'll see like a lot of our starters play this one. There'll be more of the future more of the academy kids, which will be a good test for them. It's an up and coming Liga MX team. They're not with the top 4 teams, but it's a good. I think for Atletico San Luis, it's good for them because they're for working their brand. They're trying to branch out, and I think this might be the first time them ever playing over here in the United States.
Oh, really?
So I think so. So it's good for them, to start maybe trying to create a fan base or some forth. Then
do they have a fan base up here, you think, or no?
They might. They might have quite a few fans, here.
Where is San Luis? Is that near the border, or is that?
No, that's way down in the interior.
Way down. Okay.
Yeah, and they, like I said, since they're one of the newer Liga MX teams, it's just kind of good for them, just to kind of branch out and
Oh yeah, they're way down.
Yeah, they're in San Luis. They're in San Luis Potosí, so it's like north of Mexico City. So there's people from that area, that live here in Texas. So they may go to that game, and then I think there's another game that's going to be, but it's not featuring SAFC. I think it's Tigres versus Santos, which I'm sure that's going to be.
I saw that one as well.
That's probably going to pack the stadium because there's a big. This because like I said,
on both sides, right? Because when Santos traveled here and Tigres, I know Tigres traveled no matter where. Yeah.
No, so you have Torreon and Monterrey fans probably coming on this way, but it's like I said, I think it's good to play. Like I said, a team like that, up and coming team. And also good for the academy kids. Who's to say, Atletico San Luis takes a note of some of these kids and are academy players, and maybe they take notice and take them down there. It's a good place to play, and it's a way to get to go play in Europe too. I mean, that's another route. Robert said hopefully there's no fights at the games and stuff. Really, how ironic it was a Pumas and Querétaro after the whole fiasco with Querétaro. So we had the team that started the fight and the team that lost the CONCACAF Club Championship. So
moving to the progress report. We're 10 games in. 8 wins, 2 losses. Only losses were to Phoenix. We've allowed 16 goals, we've scored 16 goals, allowed 7. We didn't score at all against Phoenix, and we allowed 5 goals against Phoenix. So out of everybody that we're playing outside of Phoenix, we've scored 16 goals and allowed 2 goals on the year. I wouldn't say we've had the toughest schedule yet either. Just kind of looking at the teams that we played. New Mexico, El Paso, Orange County. We played Phoenix twice and we've lost to them. LA Galaxy 2, which we did on the road. Which I think to me is the bigger story so far is the road record. Is outside of Phoenix. Let me pull it up here. I want to say that they are. So they beat Detroit City at home, which was proven to be a good result here. They beat LA Galaxy on the road. They beat RGV on the road.
New Mexico.
They beat Orange County on the road. They won at New Mexico for the first time. And then they beat Miami FC. So they've got 5 wins, 1 loss on the road, and only 3 home matches. A win against El Paso, a loss against Phoenix, and a win against Detroit.
And Monterey Bay.
Oh, and a win against Monterey Bay. I forgot. Even though we won 6-0, I completely forgot about that match. But, yeah. So, overall thoughts of the team. We'll go 1 through 5 as far as rating. Overall, just looking at high level of the team, first 10 games in, what would be your score for San Antonio FC?
For overall, well, I'm gonna go like kind of position wise and then overall.
Okay.
Goalkeeping, I think we're at a 4.5.
Okay.
I think here's the thing with Bonilla he's a great keeper. But then for him, when he left, and then the plugging in Jordan, I'm going to say he's player of the month. You plugged in someone that was the hero last year, during the playoffs. We didn't miss a beat. So, we're at 4.5 there. Defense, about 4.5 too. We have a really good defense. I know we had those 2 losses, and then I'm going to get to the reason why we had those 2 losses. Midfield, I'm going to give him a 4.
Really?
And then here's the reason why. I think they can get. They're good, but I think they can be better. But the one thing is, we've had some injuries. But the one key thing that I did see that kind of bumped it up was getting Nicky Hernandez. I think he's really been like a missing piece. And if you watch the couple of games he's played with us, he can really feed the ball, and he's very aggressive, and he really, he really stands out. And I see why FC Dallas, they don't want him playing MLS next, because he's just too good for that league. And this is the right spot for him to kind of get his feet wet, and he's going to be a dynamite player for them, probably more likely next year. Forwards, I'm going to give them a 4 as well. And the reason why it could be a lot higher. They need a finish. They need a finish.
Before you give your overall, we're going to add coaching and front office into it as well.
Okay, coaching, I'm gonna give him a 4.5. Marcina's doing an excellent job. I mean, he's got this team clicking, bringing in a core group, and then adding right component, new players that have been complemental to the team. It's in the chemistries you're already kind of seeing there already. The only thing, the knockoff is just the injuries. I would have given, let's say we're 100% not hurt. Who's to say we're not 10-0 and we don't knock off Phoenix, or at least knock them off in one game. And there would be, I think I would have given him a higher grader than the 4.5. As far as front office, I'm gonna give him a 3.5. You have to. The reason why is we need to add depth, and that's my biggest, and that's why just to knock off there is that added. We need to add depth to the team, and we're not seeing that. And we're sometimes you do need, you have luck in soccer, and we're getting it for right now, because any team with the amount of injuries we've had, we probably would be on the bottom of the table, but that's not the case. So I think they need to kind of learn from what happened last year. So hey, we do need to build our bench. We probably, we can't depend on academy players, even though they're talented. They just don't have the experience. So we need to add I think we need to add a couple more experienced players just into that roster, that at least we have, we won't miss a beat. If someone does go down, they can take over that spot.
And for the forward, you gave him a 4 or a 4.5?
I gave him a 4.
Okay. So I'll do mine, and then we'll do the overall. So goalkeeping, I gave a 5. Bonilla, Far. What can you say?
Yeah.
Both class. I gave the defensive back line a 5 as well. I know they've had a couple individual breakdowns, but outside of the Phoenix matches, which Phoenix is one of the elite, one of the most challenging and pressing, and I don't even know if I put the goals on the defense more on where I think that the team is weak at. And part of it's going to be the setup here. I'm going to skip midfield because I know I'm going to, have Royce yell at me here in about, 3 minutes here. I gave the forwards 4.5. Collier and Dillon, they've worked their ass off. They've put in the chances. Could they have scored a little bit more? Yes. But they're creating chances. They're the ones that are creating the chances. And that's why I gave the midfield a 3. Part of it's injuries. I don't get me wrong. Part of it's how we're set up, and part of it is just that. To me, that's the weakness of the team right now. And I know Royce will be saying, "Hey, that's how they're set up." I can already hear Royce saying, "Harry, you're wrong."
I think he would say it's probably our strength, and I think where he would probably come from is the. Abu's doing a good job. PC's doing a good job. What we're missing is we don't have a real playmaker that can feed. Like you mentioned, our chances are being created by our forwards, but we need somebody in the midfield to create those plays, kind of like what Rafa Castillo used to do.
Mhm.
We're missing that, but I think Nicky Hernandez might be that person.
Or David Larrera.
Yeah,
Either
but
one of those. But the problem is
the injuries.
the injuries, and I did put that in there. But if we're doing 10 games in, defensively, yes, I agree with you. But the problem that we're having is the forwards are setting up, for the opportunities, and it's PC, it's Abu, it's Connor, Maloney, and I love them. They're great and through there. But how many times have they missed point blank shots?
No.
And that's why, to me, I know I'm probably being a little bit harder on them, but I'm giving a lot of credit to Farr and the goalkeepers. I'm giving a lot of credit to the back line. I'm giving a lot of credit to the forwards. To me, if there's one level that isn't at that same level for San Antonio FC, it's the midfield. And it's not the defensive side. Defensive side, they're doing great. And I know this is where Royce, if Royce was here, he's going to be like, that's the point in the Marcinus system is defensively. The problem is offensively, I think you could put the Phoenix loss, the first one, we didn't have Dylan. We didn't have the two-headed monster up top. I understand that one. But the game in Phoenix, the forwards had created so many opportunities, for PC, for Abu, that we did not convert. And that's where I'm being a little bit harsh on them. Coaching like you, I gave them a 4.5 for Marcina and the staff. I thought every game they prepared. The Open Cup, they prepared well. They went for it against Austin. I gave the front office a 3, just for the fact, the lack of depth. It's and I don't know if they got caught off. We've got to get some depth in. Part of it's unlucky with injuries. Mane, Patino, Diaf, David Larrera, Nicky Hernandez. You can go on and on and on. And some of it's unlucky, and I know it might be a little bit harsh, but to me, like I said here, San Antonio FC decided to run with the thin roster compared to historically where they're at. And it's, the Academy kids have stepped up. You've got to give, the Academy kids credit. When they've been called to play, they've played well. But I don't see on a 34 game season, Dylan and Collier playing the minutes that they're playing up top. You're gonna wear them out. They're big guys. They need some rest. Midfield, we're already thin on the attacking side. Which I've covered. I think the backside, I think you mentioned we're short of center back. Especially
I think we need a couple more defender more, because I think they've played the most minutes.
Mm-hmm. Right, they have.
Besides the forwards, and with Mitchell and Garcia, they probably do need a game where they do maybe need to set out and then come in from the bench, because we're gonna need them on the stretch run. And if one goes down, it's really gonna affect, our play back there. So I think they need to find someone. I'm not saying they have to be like a total veteran, but at least someone that they could depend on and at least plug in there and do a good enough job just to maintain what they're doing right now. I think when you mentioned about the forwards that did like a 4.5, for me, I give them a 4 because they need to be up top. Mm-hmm. Every time we cross the ball, no one's there to hit the hit, and that's the whole reason to have the twin towers up there is we get some headers in and get some the balls into the net. And that goes back to our midfield not having that attacker. I think those are the key areas our front office needs to do is address, is find another attacking mid and maybe another defender and possibly and also another forward. I think we need to add maybe those if we can add those 3 positions, I think we'll be fine. As long as we can heal up at 100%, we have 100% team that's not injured, we're gonna do some damage.
But and then here's the other reason, and probably why I'm a half a point lower than you. Does go back to the Austin game. front office and the supporters, the growing pains, whatever you want to call it. It was, just it that does go into my scorecard as well. Just for that here, I'll give my overall grade. I think overall, San Antonio FC top to bottom, 4 closing in on a 4.5. I think if they would have got one of the ones against Phoenix, it probably would have been a 4.5. In fact, I almost want to put it up to a 4.5 if I'm going to discount. Actually, I am going to move it up to a 4.5 because if I'm going to downgrade the front office for the Austin FC match, I've also got to give credit to SAFC for beating beating Austin FC as well. So I'll give them a 4.5. Just from where they're at, in the league, 24 points, 10 matches in. They're ahead of the Copa Shield. Solid position if they can beat Colorado Springs on Saturday. They would be first in the league. Not only they're there, and yes, Robert, Nathan is a sad. I think we all know what happened at this point. I think when the whispers got around that Nathan was available, they were going to loan him to San Antonio FC. However, when MLS called, let's be honest, you got to take that call, and that's to me, I think what personally happened with the Nathan to San Antonio is the Timbers called, said, "Hey, we're going to sign you here. We'll give you the opportunity, to come in and prove yourself." And you got to give him. He had a brace in his first match this past week against, for Portland against Sporting Kansas City. For that here, so well done to Nathan, and like I said here, shout out to the social media team from SAFC on the Timbers SAFC Nathan celebration goal where they were identical on that. So for that here, so your grade for that
overall, I'm gonna give him, like you mentioned, a 4.5 with the FO aside, because I'm not mixing it in. I'm doing it as far as play.
I got you.
I'm gonna give him a 4.5. Had we beaten Phoenix, it'd have been a little bit higher, maybe a 4.75. But there's still more room for improvement. I think we can still get better. We can be a dominant team, but it's like I said, a lot has to. Like I said, the reason why the 4.5 is the injuries, the lack of finishing, and then also the lack of depth. Those are the three areas they need to address. Even right before the midway point of the season, those 3 things need to be addressed. And I think if we can address those 3 things, I think we have a really good shot at going deep. And I think the third time around playing Phoenix, I think we can beat them. I think we figured them out. It's just we just need a finish and just kind of do what Tampa Bay did this past weekend.
Final thoughts for that here. Oh, actually, hold on. There is one other thing that we have to cover. So we have found out through San Antonio Soccer Roundtable that there has been a change with the SAFC Pro Academy. Starting in 2023, which will be the 7th year of the academy, they are going to be moving to a pay-to-play model here. It says here, while there are myriad benefits to the club and the community, our operation of robust professional youth academy, we have reached a stage that is necessary to adjust our model to ensure its overall sustainability for years ahead, to ensure we can provide continuing opportunity for the forthcoming surge of bright young talent within our midst. As such, this phase 2 will continue to evolve club-provided financial and other support, field infrastructures to subsidize SAFC Pro Academy. Yet, for the first time, there will be an annual player participation fee to support a direct programming cost, which will be in the form of $1,800 plus $450 for the unit, for the uniform per player. Player-related travel expenses will continue to be the responsibilities of the families. Keep in mind that San Antonio FC does play in MLS Next and USL Academy League for the U19s. For that here, they're going to be moving to Puma. And that was signed by Tim Holt and Juan Madrid. Tim Holt, the managing director. Juan Madrid, Tim Holt, the managing director. Juan Madrid, the academy director for that here. So I reached out to James when I went to the watch party on Saturday for that here. Nobody likes to see the pay to play. But let's be honest, there is economics that come into play. So that can't be ignored. And he did mention, in talking to James, he did mention that San Antonio FC is still, as far as for a professional club, still probably relatively one of the lowest ones. And I know it's crazy to say 1,800, is low plus the uniforms, but having been in the club soccer scene here for 2 years now, it's not much more than what, Surf or Classic Elites and, others play at not quite that high level, at not quite the level of, I'm assuming SAFC has higher level of coaching.
No.
You could probably correct me if I'm wrong on that, since that's more your wheelhouse. So I understand it. I don't like it. I also wonder, if you really look at it, I think they say that they have about 100 kids. If you say, there is payment plan structure, scholarships, that type of stuff that probably in play. If let's say you averaged it out to, let's say, hey, $1,000 for each kid, that's $100,000 that SAFC is able to get for that here. And I'm probably putting that on the conservative side here for that here. My hope is that this will also open up the door to a women's team in the Super League, and start to attract young women to be able to play, involved in the academy through there. That's my wishes. But what's your thoughts on the SAFC going to pay for play?
I think maybe with the whole thing with COVID and inflation and stuff, I think they had to. I know they were probably split, covering the bill. I don't know how the other academies, I know Austin FC's academy is doing the same thing, and they probably are. I remember going to a showcase in Dallas. I'm not going to name the club, but one of the parents asked me how much my team club team cost for the year, and I told him, and nearly gave him a heart attack. He said that low. I said yeah, but he told me how much his was, I think, over $4,000, which was ridiculous.
Story, yeah.
But I mean, being a former club coach, I know in the Club America we charge, I think it was like $1,200 for the whole year, plus uniforms. I mean,
plus travel.
$400 for uniforms. I think that's a little too much. Unless
it's not. I'll tell you this, AJ, getting uniforms was around $300 now.
Oh,
some of that was me also getting doubles of shorts and shirts.
Yeah.
Just because, like if you've got double header, or you're playing on a weekend away, are you really going to want to be in a dirty uniform or, along those lines? So some of it was us, getting him an extra kit, shorts and shirts.
Socks,
but
the winter gear and the bag and the hoodie. Yeah, I mean,
I think said Austin does the same. He has a good friend that's son is in the academy as well.
I mean, I know USSF needs to really look in their face look in the mirror and, is this pay to play actually helping them? Because really it's not. And if you look at other countries, most of them don't do it, and they're able to still get good talent and able to develop them, and they don't move on to wherever they need to go to. And I think that's been the problem here. And a lot of it has to do also with those leagues they play because they do charge. Where does that money go to? Is it going
Well,
back?
MLS Next, is MLS.
Yeah, but like
And
ECNL and all
USL
that.
Academy, I'm assuming, is not cheap either.
Yeah,
Just being fair to both.
like ECNL and WDOA. Where's that money going to? Because they ain't going back to the players or even the coaches. It's I know I always tell when I bump into people when it comes to club and we're interested in going on. It's an investment. To have your son or daughter become a better technical player, and hopefully the opportunity to maybe play, in college, maybe to help pay school or to get to the next level, like Jose Gallegos play in the pros or end up in playing in Europe, because that's it's just an investment. But I think there's better ways to knowing I know that with them they have so many sponsors. I think they can find a way to maybe to cut kind of costs too, especially like all those MLS teams. You're getting tons of money from TV rights and all the sponsors and all that. You can kind of cut a kid a break and not make it too much. Make it affordable so that way they can play. But I think also you make it a good point. I think this is the opportunity to create a girls club team within SAFC, and hopefully out of that maybe ends up bringing a professional team. I think me speaking from the high school side of things, I think it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way they can compete, especially what some of those teams did this year, those high school, especially those Dallas teams, what they did this year, in Georgetown. You look at Salina and Wakeland and who's the South Lake Carroll. You see with the level of play some of those girls. Like we did one interview with the Salina, the leading scorer from Salina. She was an FC Dallas, player. And FC Dallas doesn't even have a women's pro team, but they still have an academy team. So I think SAC is time for them to create one and give the girls here in San Antonio an opportunity to play a higher, not to saying they're not playing at a higher level, but playing, get that, exposure in that side of their, side of soccer.
So I'm going to give a quick update, and I might try to see if I can do another show later on this week, since my schedule got kind of freed up here. UWS kicks off. The San Antonio Runners already played, and they won 2-0 over Wilco this past Saturday or Sunday night. I know the Athenians tweeted out that they got a match against Luxoria FC, which is in Dallas, who lost to Austin Elite 2-1. And then they come home and play, I want to say Wilco. But they come home and play on Sunday night. So possible you could have a doubleheader on Saturday, San Antonio FC, San Antonio Athenians on Sunday for out here at Soccer Central, I believe is where they're still playing for out here. But, as soon as work kind of calms down a little bit and I didn't realize end of year with AJ's soccer and his dance and all sorts of family stuff as school's winding down has got a lot more hectic.
Middle school play.
So just it's AJ's got a match tomorrow, and then he'll have a middle school tournament. And if he gets to play on Saturday, he gets to play at Gus, which they have a pretty good shot at doing that. If they can win tomorrow, they should finish, I think, second in the standings for the NISD middle school group that he's in. And although how they have the playoffs set up, they play 2 on Friday and then 1 on Saturday. So we'll see how that goes. But schedule on that will be released Thursday, I guess, after the results on Wednesday. Final thoughts for you? Any overseas? Real Madrid, they've already won all their leagues. I know EPL comes down to the last match. Man City's got a 1-point lead right now, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah.
So all they have to do is win, and they control. I think Italy is still undecided, if memory serves me correct. Any final thoughts on the international matches before Real Madrid signs everybody?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna first go localized. I just want to say congratulations to Coach Strong and let's say Coach Walters from Bernie and Bernie Champion, being named Coach of the Year. So congratulations to them from the Tasco. So great seasons for them. International wise, yeah, I think it's a done deal from what I'm hearing. Mbappe did sign the deal with Florentino, and I think it's going to be $100 million. I think signing bonus, and then the 5-year, $50 million per year contract. Messi, like Robert mentioned, Messi is coming to Inter Miami. I think 2023, and he is going to own. I think 30. He's going to be a part owner of the team as well with David Beckham, which is a surprise there. And then, like I said, yeah, there was a good. They watched the Liverpool game. They squeaked by Southampton.
Yeah, that was a closer game than I think what most fans thought it would be.
Yeah, so it's gonna come down to the last game on Sunday, and then Nottingham Forest. I think they're back in the EPL. I believe so.
Yeah, that's what. When's that?
The good old Sheriff of Nottingham's coming back.
Who are they playing? Oh,
They beat Sheffield
went down.
United, right?
Yeah, they just beat Sheffield United, but
Yeah, because they're going up with Bournemouth and
Huddersfield Town. They'll be playing Huddersfield Town.
Huddersfield Town. Okay, the next one.
And the the biggest money game, right? And that's on the 29th, I believe. Here, yeah, the 29th, 10:30, Huddersfield Town, who was, I want to say, in the EPL last year, right, and down.
Yeah.
And Nottingham Forest. It's been a while since they've been in this position, if memory serves me correct. So
yeah, because I remember they were good in the 80s. Like they won 2.
Historically, they are a. I don't know if they were a big club, but I know what Darren Powell used to be associated with them one way or another, if memory serves me right. Whether it was his childhood club or he came up through them for that year. So. But yeah, that'll be an interesting match on the 29th for that here. So I may take the bus here. Oh, Crocketeers are also still selling tickets if you want to take the bus down to RGV, go down and back. I believe it's pick up around 1, get back around 1 at 1 p.m. Get back between 1 and 2 a.m. on Sunday. I believe it'll leave from Toyota Field. Over there, so reach out to the Crocketeers or through their app. My final thought, number one, it is May is Mental Health Awareness Month here. So not just suicide, but just mental health, in general. With the crazy world that we're living in, just please, if you're feeling, if you're not in good mental health, please, research, whether it's Mental Health America or what was the other one that I was looking at, the National Alliance on Mental Illness for that here, because it impacts so much. I know we always talk about, right? I talk about, the worst case scenario with suicides here, but depression, mood swings, stuff like that. It only affects, adults, but children, parents, even pets, for that here. So just kind of check that out. Make sure you're kind of aware of it for that here. 2, want to do, say thank you to, Royce and Rafa on hanging out with me so far. 10 games in, I give us, since we're progress report, I give us a C. We got to get a little bit more better on our consistency on the SAFC coverage for that here. We got to try to work on a schedule, and with club season over, might be a little bit easier for that here. But do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you to San Antonio FC, the communications team. Thank you to USL, YouTube for the videos. I did say that we were going to try to keep this under an hour and a half, so I got to get off. So we got 20 minutes to spare. What's life without goals? Hope everybody has a great one, and we'll see you sometime next week, most likely, talking San Antonio soccer.